Hey guys, Gina here. I already did one of the videos and I kind of did the introduction to put a little of a stroke awareness out there. My dad did suffer a stroke about two years ago in March 21st, 2 years ago. So it's been a little over 2 years. So, okay, so when he had his stroke, um, I was telling you that, just going to give you a little brief summary. Uh, the ambulance came for him. They were there really, really quickly. He was taken to the ER. They did all the ER procedures on him. My aunt actually got him a room when he was able to move upstairs to the ER, to the intensive care, I'm sorry, to the intensive care unit. And because of her, she was actually able to her pool and stuff, she was actually able to get him right in front of the nurses station, which was really, really helpful. The nurses were really, really kind to him. They were really, really great to him. And we are so grateful for all that the nurses and the doctors and the staff did. So those were some really, really hard times, guys. They didn't think my dad was gonna make it. He was intubated, and for the first, I believe, for the first couple of weeks, I think. I don't even remember everything. I should have written it all down for you guys. But he was intubated and he didn't have a lot of movement. I know he could hear us because he would move his hand when he would hear our voices. Um, so, okay. Some of the doctors were saying that it would be best to basically like let him go, and that was not an option for us. We didn't feel that that was the route to go, and it was really painful. It was a really painful decision because we knew um, that my dad did not want to be like that. So it's a hard subject to talk about, guys. So I know that there's been some time that has passed, but it's so hard to talk about it. I'm actually holding on to a picture of Jesus Christ while I'm talking about this. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So there was a doctor that who would take care of, I don't even remember the name of them, guys. That they would take care of the respiration and stuff like that. They were the ones that said that why would we confine my dad to living a life like that? That it wouldn't be a very good life for him. So anyway, we kind of discarded his, opinion about that, and we kind of stood firm in, giving him a chance to fight. So we didn't feel that my dad wanted to do the fight because we felt that he wanted to let go, and but we wanted to stay strong for him, and we knew that he could come out of it. So they wanted to plan for surgery. The surgery was supposed to be for a trach here. It's an opening here, and they put in a trach. And they also wanted to do a G-tube. And we knew that my dad was never into that. He always said that he never wanted anything, if he ever was confined to a wheelchair, or if he couldn't take care of himself, that he did not want to live. And so it was really, really hard decision for us because we didn't want to do any surgeries that he would not feel comfortable with. So we were, I'm not going to lie, guys, I actually lost hope at one point in time. I actually felt like, maybe letting him go was best because we were respecting his wishes. But it is a very hard decision. We didn't want to let him go. It's not something I ever wanted. I love my dad, and I just knew that he didn't want that. And we were very conscious about the way he would feel. But it was like it was like a roller coaster ride while at the hospital. My dad lasted for 3.5 months, maybe a little bit longer, in the hospital the first time. And it felt like an eternity, guys. I mean, pulling 16, 14-hour shifts, even though I had a family. My brother also, he never left my dad's side, maybe just to go take a shower and come back. My mom too. There was always somebody there with my dad. We were always rotating, or there was two or three of us there at the same time. Um, you know, my sister from San Antonio also, she was here. She wasn't with her family at the time either. She was down here with us. It was a really, really hard time. So anyway, so there was a lot of, church members, a lot of friends, a lot of family who showed up. I think a lot of them were actually coming to kind of like say their goodbyes at one point in time, and it felt really hard at that point. Um, like I felt like we were having to let go. But the Lord always kept sending somebody to lift up our hopes. Every time we felt down, He would pick us up. And then we'd feel down again, and He'd pick us up. And I'm not going to lie, guys, for me, this is just my journey. This is the only one I'm talking about. Just mine, how I felt. Not my brothers, how they felt. Not my sisters, how they felt. Not how my mom felt. I'm just talking about me, how I felt through this. I'm just talking about my journey through this. I did a lot of fasting, a lot of praying, a lot of scriptural reading. I pleaded so many times. And there was a time when I got really, really angry. And I feel sorry. I feel sorry for having to say this but because I've always been a church member, I've always been a churchgoer, I've always had pretty good, a pretty good testimony, and I've always felt that the Lord has been there for me. But as human beings, we tend to forget about all the things that He tends to do for us. So I remember one time I came home at, I guess it was in the afternoon. I came home and I was really angry. I was in my couch in the living room. My husband was working in the other room because he works from home. And I remember being so upset and telling the Lord, why are you not listening to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you hurting me like this? I've fasted, I've prayed, I've pleaded, I've asked you for a miracle. We all got into a circle as a family, and we asked the Lord for a miracle to please heal my dad. And I was the one that had to say the prayer because my mom had assigned me to say it, because she said that she felt that I was the one that loved my dad the most, and my dad always felt that I loved him the most. And not that my other brothers and sisters didn't, but I did feel that connection with my dad. And so I was really angry. I was like, even after saying those prayers and everything, I felt like He wasn't hearing me. And I was like, please, like, I felt so desperate, and I was so angry. I felt like He was just not listening to me. And I wanted to be in control of the situation. And then there was this one day, or actually a night, I was actually coming over to the hospital, and something hit me. I was listening to this song, this Ozzy song. I don't even remember the name of the song, but I remember listening to it, and I remember just letting go and just being like, just let it be thy will, let it be whatever it is that you want it to be. I'm willing to accept whatever it is that you want. I'm tired of asking, I'm tired of pleading. It's gonna be your way, and I'm willing to say goodbye if that is what is best for him. I'm not gonna be selfish to keep him here. Even though I want him, I feel like he deserves a second chance. I think everybody deserves a second chance. But I'm willing to take whatever it is you want it to be. And I thanked him for giving us more time with him, even if it was through the hospital, even if it was holding his hand, even if it was just him just doing this to us in a way of communicating, because he couldn't talk, he couldn't move, he couldn't open his eyes. He wouldn't, if he would open his eyes, it was like just squinting, and he would just close them back. So he was always sedated because they didn't want him pulling out him being intubated, or they didn't want him pulling out the trach or anything. So I remember, telling him that I finally just left it up to him. And when I did that, I don't know if it was that same day, but I felt a sense of relief. I think it was that same day, guys. It was at night. It was at night, and I was there with my brother. But I had gotten there, and my brother was in the restroom, I think. I said hi to him or whatever, and then he went into the restroom, and I was left alone with my dad. And I was just holding his hand, and the tears were coming down my eyes. Down my face. And I remember saying a prayer. And then all of a sudden, my old phone, it just turned on by itself. It turned on by itself because it was completely off, just like it is right now. This is not the same phone, but I had another phone, and it was like this. It was a black screen. And then all of a sudden, it turned on by itself, and it was a song of my dad playing the piano, and it was saying, I don't remember the name of the song. Sorry, guys, my son was coming, and I was like, get over there. I remember the song came on, and this song was called, I don't remember the name of this song, but the words were in Spanish. It said, Esta noche me la paso contigo, which means this night I'm spending it with you. And he was playing that song in the video, and I think my sister had already shared that like 7 minutes ago, which was really, really weird. So I felt like my dad was listening to the prayer that I was doing in my mind. And I kind of freaked out a little bit because of the words in that song, and I was praying. Right after that prayer, that song came on all by itself. And I told my brother when he came out of the restroom, I told him, we were there in his room, and I was holding my dad's hand, and I was crying, and but I remember that night I was telling one of the nurses, we were kind of arguing back and forth because she was telling me, she's a good friend now, she's a really great person, I'm really grateful for everything she did. She was telling me, well, I had actually told her, I remember she came in to do something, she was the night nurse, and she came in to do something, and then she said, you guys should just like let him go, don't confine him into a life like this, sometimes it's best to let him go, why would you do that to him? And we were kind of arguing back and forth, me and her, and she was telling me her opinion, I was telling her my opinion. But that night was like such a magical night because my brother was singing, and the staff was in there, the nurses were in there, I had heard that song, and I don't know, I felt such a peace, guys. So yeah, so that happened, and I felt like the Lord had answered me, and I left that night. I think I left like at 12 a.m. in the morning, and actually that night I totally forgot to turn on the lights of my car, and I was just driving, and then all of a sudden I just see this guy like, honking at me, and I look, and he's like telling me like turn on the lights, and I was like, oh my gosh, like the Lord is so aware of. I mean, something could have happened to me that night. I wasn't paying attention. I was tired. I was exhausted. I had so many emotions going on at that time. But anyway, so then the next day, same thing. Go back to the hospital, go put in the time, be there with my dad, taking care of my mom, making sure she's okay, just rotating with my brother and my mom and my other brothers and sisters. And anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this here. I'm gonna go ahead and do another video. So if you want to keep on going, I think it'll be just like a little series or something. So I don't want to make them too long. This is already gonna be 15 minutes. So I'll go ahead and make another video. So if you want to go ahead and click on that one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.